Hi there, ho there, hey there. This is Jim. I know a lot of people say shit like that, but this is Jim the Keys bartender, and I'm here in Key Largo with my co-host today, Papa Joe. Say hi, Papa Joe.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Yeah. I was just prior to the call, prior to the show, I mentioned to Papa Joe I got this great. You know how screensavers are. They got these beautiful. The ones I like. I like beautiful scenery, and it asks you if you like them or not, and then it starts learning what you like, and it shows Garda, Italy, and I was asking Papa Joe, being an expert on all things Italy, I asked him where it was because it shows Garda's on the water, and you said
it's actually a lake in the Alpine chain. It's between Milan and Venice. There's many cities around it. There is a city called Garda. In my youth, when I was 6 and 7 years old, I spent the summer in the town just south of it called Bardolino. So that lake you were looking at, I actually swam in it. Spent a lot of time there. That is a very deep lake. Yes, it's like Lake Como, Lecco. It's in that Alpine lake region between Italy and Switzerland.
Does it look like it was opened up? I didn't see the other side of the body of water it showed. But
it's massive. It's a massive lake. It's beautiful.
Oh, okay.
It's just drop dead beautiful there.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not immune to beautiful scenery here. I mean, we have beautiful vistas here in the Keys, but it's nice when you have hills around. That's I was always taken because we don't see those too often, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the clouds in the distance they kind of look like mountains. You got to use your imagination, but
yeah.
We do have some breathtaking sunrises and sunsets. There's nothing like waters. The water scenery. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it is right now. It's early May. We are in the midst of. We had the interview. Joe and I had the interview yesterday with Mayor Johnston. We'll talk about that a little more right after this. But we had a little. There was a little excitement here in the Keys. Something horrible happened. There was a domestic violence case. I guess you call it domestic violence, but we're not going to get into details there because it happens. All bad news happens in different towns, and we're not necessarily a news show. And that whatever happened is over. Oh, well, I want to say it's over. Repercussions aren't over, but what happened is over. But yesterday, it was a decision to do a podcast. We're doing a podcast on the Keys opening up. And something horrible happened, and I know some of the victims, and I know the victims. And
wow.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? We got a show to do. I don't mean to say we delayed a show or anything. It doesn't really affect it because we were talking about the opening of the Keys. It sounds cold-hearted. I know it does, but
no, it's not cold-hearted because it happened in the morning, and by the time we went to recording, it was afternoon.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I mean, it was an ongoing thing, but life goes on, man.
Yeah, and I did not promote the podcast yesterday. I held on to it. I mean, we did release it, but I didn't push it out there, onto all the Key West sites until today, figuring it was not what we had to say was not in a big hurry since we are looking at the whole. We have about 22, 23 more days of minimum of checkpoints going on up north. And I didn't broach the subject with Mayor Johnson because I don't think it really affects them as much. But in the Upper Keys it does. We have a lot of people that, and the FWC said there's a lot of visitors from the mainland coming by boat, even though they can't get here by car.
Right.
They come down from, the gas up. No one stops them. The marinas that are open can't stop them. But they are.
I believe they're fine so long as they don't dock their boat. I don't think you can stop someone from going up and down the waterways, but
Oh no, I
I
think
think
what they're doing is they're coming to the sandbar and stuff like that. And
yeah,
what they do is they come, there's places on the canals and stuff like that are opening up. And I don't. Hey, listen, I don't begrudge them. What the reason why they don't do it is they're supposed to adhere to the social distancing rules, right?
yeah, and you hope they do, but we all know that they don't.
Well, I know they're on a boat, and stuff like that. Who has face mask and stuff like that? And there's. I'm not saying it's legitimate. There are people. I don't think they're listeners of this show that think it's all a hoax. And there's some really, there's people pushing these conspiracy theories right now, and it's becoming two separate worlds on in at least the United States. People that a small group of people, I'd say small, like 30% of the population is susceptible to these conspiracy theories, and it suits their view of the world, right?
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, I always get bummed out when I hear conspiracy theories. It just because you just dig just a little bit and you realize, oh my God, all the countering information, all the facts are sitting right there. But some people, man, they're just not happy unless they're throwing crazy around.
Well, yeah, and there's like Alex Jones who's completely fucking insane. He just the other day he suggested that things go down. That it was funny. It was last week actually, last Thursday maybe. He said that if things go down really bad, that he would be looking at his neighbors to eat because he has to feed his daughters. And the funny thing about it is Alex Jones actually has he does have a son, so I guess he's not offering any of that meat to his son. But the thing about inside the conspiracy group, there's so many people. There's the people that they'll buy into the conspiracy, the deep state conspiracy, the Q. I have a friend up in Philadelphia who's a private investigator, and I don't know what happened to him. He used to be pretty moderate and stuff like that, but he bought into the whole thing that I don't know with Obama, and I mean, it's just like a lot of hate and bought in. They're people that it seems to be they're buying into certain conspiracies that there's a whole range of them, and they may poo-poo the people. It's funny, the flat earthers, but they're with the flat earthers too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are.
There's flat
yeah,
earthers.
No,
They're anti-vaccine people and all that.
Yeah, I consider
stuff.
I consider all of them flat earthers. They're all at that same level of lack of cerebral output.
Oh, you think that they're
They don't think.
Well, yeah, that they're. I see. I know there's people out there that are brilliant, like Stephen Miller, one of the aides to Trump. No one's going to say Stephen Miller isn't intelligent. Stephen Miller's a genius. Same as Bannon. That guy Bannon was a genius. But they're damaged.
No, both those guys are extremely intelligent.
Yeah,
but
they're
they're
kind of damaged, aren't they?
Just listen, Bannon. I'm convinced Bannon. He's just a racist. You listen to him talk, and the dog whistles and the themes he uses. I'm your age. I'm 56 years old. We've heard them since we were children. We've all heard them before.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller, he's younger, and I think Stephen Miller is actually more dangerous, or someone like Stephen Miller, because they're narrowly focused on certain issues, and then they're in a position to
he's playing with fire.
Implement administration.
Stephen Miller's really playing with fire. He's Jewish too, and he openly courts the white nationalists that have, the white nationalists will certainly play along with a Jewish guy who, is speaking their language for a while. But if they had the opportunity, there was a TV show on HBO called The Plot Against America, The Plot Against the U.S., or whatever. It was the HBO miniseries, and it was an alternate history. Did I mention this to you?
No, you didn't.
It was HBO. It was a great show. It was based on I think it was based on a Philip Roth book, but it was, John Turturro was in it. What's the chick that was in the little girl that was in Beetlejuice? The hot brunette. I keep on forgetting.
Oh.
Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder was in it.
Yes.
And a couple other people you might recognize. But it's in it's alternate history. It's where the second term of Roosevelt, when he's running for his third term, I think, he loses to Charles Lindbergh. And Lindbergh was an apologist for the Nazis, right? And
yes, he was.
And then and it was you just seen a rise of anti-Semitism and this. And it's funny. There's one guy in it, a rabbi, John Turturro plays him. He's kind of a big cheerleader for the administration, right? And he tells them how Lindbergh is an anti-Semite and all that stuff. And it turns out as times go on, that some really bad shit starts happening to the Jewish people. A lot of anti-Semitism and all this stuff. And there's almost like a Kristallnacht where people go on a rampage against in Jewish neighborhoods and stuff like that. So I'm not giving away the story, but it's kind of funny. When I say funny, it's kind of familiar because of the shit that's going down with these certain racists in the United States. That the gentleman in Georgia who was shot and killed by the father and son, they finally were arrested. They had the video. They had the cell phone video of the event, and someone said, and you've seen it, I guess everyone's seen it, right?
Yeah.
And these guys tracked him down. They said their excuse was he fit the description of someone who was burglarizing the homes. He fit the description. Okay, so what they did is a guy who was running down the street, which was jogging actually, because he was you can say he was or whatever. He was jogging in the street, and they hunt him down in their truck, and the son approaches him with a shotgun. You get approached by someone with a shotgun. I know Georgia's an open carry state, and the guy resisted, and they killed him. They murdered him. And they had the video for 2 months, and until they released the video, they weren't going to charge the guys. And then until everyone sees the video, they charged the guys last night because people started saying stuff.
Right. The investigation was given to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the GBI, as a result of that video going public. The pressure was put on. It was handed to the GBI. The Attorney General for the state then became responsible as the attorney of charge. And that's why within a day, or maybe two, formal charges of murder were brought down on these two individuals. Now, I've seen the video, and look, I was a police officer for a long time, and I've been in those situations where you think you have a fleeing felon, and I've never had to shoot anyone, and I've caught my share. That's not normal protocol under any modern, and when I say modern, I mean like in the last 40 years, law enforcement criteria on how to deal with that situation.
And this
it was
this
stupid
guy
on
was
their
retired.
part.
This guy was retired law enforcement, and his
Yeah,
son was not law
I,
enforcement. So this was
he,
total.
he
These were
he was
civilians.
retired with his son. Yeah, these were a bunch of vigilantes at that point, and I don't know what goes through people's mind.
It's a
You know,
shame they didn't arrest him on that day and test him. I mean, they could have been.
oh, there's all kinds of questions like why the original investigative agency didn't do their job. You know, maybe there were certain problems. I don't know, but it is kind of interesting that as soon as it goes public, the entire investigation goes in a different direction, and these two idiots are arrested. You know, there's people that say, well, you don't know the whole story. I feel pretty comfortable with my experience looking at that video that that was a situation that just didn't need to happen. Period. Yeah. End of story.
And that Joe, but you know, we hear all this stuff about, you know, listen, if it was a black suspect that killed a police officer, and that happened, I'd understand completely if that was the case. But these things, you know, they're out there. You know, if you think it's squelched, if you think you squelched it just because you have possession of it, and then don't say anything in the long run, the idea is they're really disconnected on, you know, that's, you see videos all the times where police officers pull over other police officers that did something wrong, right? Either they were intoxicated or something like that. And you see these police officers go like this, I'm sorry, I have you on video. You did this, and this occurred, and there's witnesses. There's nothing I can do. They know this happened. There's no skirt, you know, sweeping it under. But, I mean, even in the case where it said there's things you don't know, how isn't anybody questioned or taken into custody? At minimum, knowing that these things will be out. It's crazy. It is insane. Not even close. You know, it's as if, I mean, just if they had these videos with the KKK, you know, years ago,
yeah,
where they did all these lynchings and stuff like that. I mean, people say, hey, listen, just take off your fucking hood if you're going to do this. Just take your hood off if you're going to do this. That's what these guys that did this stuff in the truck are the same guys that would put a hood on and they grab one guy because he's running through the neighborhood and they take him and they're going to make an example out of him. That's what they were doing.
There's such a lack of protocols. The guy he's an ex-cop. But police protocols and law enforcement and justice had nothing to do with this. When they got out, he's armed with a shotgun and he confronts someone who may very well be innocent.
I think that was
at
the
that
son.
Moment, he
that
doesn't
was the
know.
Son the son was the one that got out of the truck with the shotgun, and the father was still in the truck, right?
Yeah. Well, no. I think I'm looking at the video. I think it's the father. Well, it looked to me like it was the father. Let's face it. The video isn't super detailed, but it looked like it was the father. Doesn't matter which one. Mm-hmm. You get out with a long gun, you're going to get up close to someone. That is the most unsafe situation in the world. Yep. You're just basically giving that gun to someone to grab and take control. You don't use a long gun when you go up to someone, and you don't confront someone with a gun who's not armed. You don't start or you don't create a fist fight and then blow someone's spine out their back and then say, oh, well, he was fighting with me, I had to shoot. You don't get to create the situation, then use deadly force, and then say, I used deadly force because I created the situation. No. the whole thing, in my opinion, is just wrong. You'll always have people that'll make excuses for the cops. I was never one. I'm not one. I put my fair share of law enforcement officers in jail way before video became prevalent.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
So what I looked at when I saw the video, it was because that shotgun off was pointed right at his belly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it, how he's the young man's got his fist. He's fighting. Who the hell wouldn't? You're confronted by armed nutcases, and you're out for a jog.
Yeah. Well,
it's time to fight life, but unfortunately, he lost life.
It's an extenuation of the fantasy of the open carry state, where you can just run down the street with a gun and just chase someone. But you've seen it with these protests and stuff like that. Now, recently, the nice thing about it is now that some of these black legislators or people are getting threatened, now there's black open carry people in Michigan escorting people to their jobs. So, I mean, there you go, guys. These white militants carrying a thing. There's you're getting people, opposing people. You can't complain about it. It's an open carry state. You're allowed to carry. You don't have you're not a your opposition can carry weapons too. It's just a crazy thing to allow, and this is what we become. If someone was one of these guys get drunk and they end up going into the wrong house, you end up getting shot. I did that once. I'm going to change the subject. I went and tried to get into an apartment that wasn't mine in Philadelphia. Joe, are you there?
After a night of perhaps imbibing?
Yes. It was over 20. It was 20, but I'd say 25 years ago. And I went to someone's door, and I tried getting in. I jammed my key in the lock because they returned the keys to me. And the guy said, and he was kind of a big talker and stuff like that. It was he was about my height, but he was a super skinny guy, and he was an artist. And we ended up being friends. And he was always drinking, and he said he was dying, but he lived for as long as I knew him, 4 years, he was living fine. He never ate. All he did was drink.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all he did was drink, and he had this. I don't know where he got his money from. I guess he was a trust fund guy, but he said he stuck a gun in my face. But I wouldn't know because I don't remember. I don't remember what happened. That happened. Luckily, he didn't pull the trigger. But to this day, it didn't make a big enough impression for me to remember if that actually happened. So, we actually forgot we were a comedy podcast, didn't we? There for a while. Yesterday we interviewed.
Yeah, kind of.
We interviewed Mayor Johnston of Key West, and who was very informative and seemed to have a very good grasp of the way forward for Key West.
It's a pleasure to speak to a public servant, especially like a mayor, an elected representative, who's just down to earth, has a decent conversation, seems really clear on what's going on and what direction. It seemed open, someone that's well connected in the community. I mean, I really, I know I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. I really enjoyed that conversation yesterday. That was a wonderful podcast.
Yep. There was very little pablum there for anybody. She was even-handed for people that aren't. She's a Democrat, but she had some very nice things to say about the state representative Holly Rasheen, who's a friend of mine, and she some people, that the luxury of some people just to snipe at people that are in power sometimes, and we did it to the governor, but the governor, you know there were legitimate shortfalls with the governor, especially when it comes to the unemployment. But we're we're going to be probably doing that more often. Maybe we can get and if I get someone who's representative, one of the representatives come on, I definitely don't hold them responsible for how inadequate the response the state had to the.
Hey, some of them with the consequences of the previous administration.
Yeah.
Our governor DeSantis, he's dealing with what Governor Rick Scott did to the welfare.
Well, I mean, he didn't do anything. He didn't really do anything to upgrade it either. So, and supposedly Florida, Florida's starting to look pretty good, and people don't know if it's necessary to weather or anything like that. But we're going to find out eventually. It's still in the beginnings of them opening up. Whether they say the United States, we're going to have an uptick in deaths to about 3,000 a day for a while because of the opening up. So, but let's move on from there. And I wanted to talk about selling out. And I want to be a sellout. I want to sell out like these guys sell out, but I want to sell out to a sponsor. I want to sell out to some alcohol. I was trying to sell out to a city. We tried to, and a city in Netherlands, which we're not going to mention their name because there was not an uptick in listeners, even though I pointedly put it in. I sent some message and I did some positive promos for you guys, and nothing came of it. But if we did have other ones, we had. I want to mention one. I said we had the other day. I had Abby's nephew, Bartek. He says he listens to the podcast to learn English. Did you?
Wow.
He's Polish, yeah, and he's not in the town where we had a big listener jump. It was it's how do we say it? Nienadowka. Nienadowka. It's in the Rzeszów district of Poland. That's in the same district where Abby's hometown is, San Rzeszów.
Okay.
But we would definitely would like to partner up with Rzeszów maybe, and we push in. There's enough native speakers there. I thought that the Netherlands would be perfect since the whole country seems to be fluent in English there. It's practically the second language in them. But then again, we can make the switch to Poland. And there's some other countries that are in play right now.
Oh, really? Which ones?
Oh, well, I'm going to go, Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico. Tijuana. Now, Tijuana, there's Tijuana and Baja, California, and Tijuana in Mexico. It's kind of like split, I think. You there, Joe?
Well, that's interesting.
You're breaking up a little. I'm going to keep on talking as if you're there, Joe, until we get you back.
Yeah, okay, I'm back.
No, there you are. You are back. There we go. So yeah, Mexico, which is definitely Tijuana. Now, I just didn't know. I wanted to people that listen to the show tend to be, let's say, skewed to the deviants, right?
Okay.
So I did a little research, and there was practically, it's false. The donkey shows are not. There's a lot of suggestion that the donkey shows really never happened. They were just urban.
What kind of show is this?
Donkey shows? You never heard of donkey shows? Are you familiar with those? Are you there, Joe?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, yeah. A donkey show is when a woman pleasures a donkey, fornicates with a donkey.
Oh, good God! And how does donkey shows play into this?
Well, Tijuana was the place you go and see it.
Oh no!
No,
It's
that's the
Tijuana.
urban legend. Tijuana is one of those, it was right over the border of the United States, and not that Mexico is more deprived, because the reason what made Tijuana so open was the Americans that couldn't do this stuff because in the United States because of our puritanical backgrounds and stuff like that. I'm not suggesting that donkey shows are appropriate, stuff like that, but when they would go south of the border where there's less constraints, right, they just would be the worst behaviors would be on display in
Yeah, I've
Tijuana.
heard some crazy stuff going on in
Border
Tijuana,
towns are
but
always that was always the thing. And people say border towns, they blame it on the country on the border. It's not the I had to argue with people on this. It has nothing to do with the country that the border towns in. It's the one it abuts that makes it bad.
yeah,
Because it was a
that I agree
particularly
with you.
if the U.S. was without sin, then there's no reason for them to have all this vice in the town, right? That border town would not need to be there. It could be in the interior of Mexico, right?
Absolutely.
It's common sense. The reason it's on the border is because the American deviants go in there. There you go. I mean, it's clear as day. It has nothing
Oh
to
yeah,
do.
that's why.
I mean, it does.
That's why.
Obviously, there's people that go and supply it, but these borders, just like during Prohibition, or let's say, look at if listeners listen to your states, or look at your states. If you have a state that has kind of restrictive uh, times for serving, tighter controls under alcohol, let's say lower age, whenever there's like a little more restrictions in one state, a little more open in a neighboring state, you'll see a huge influx of people coming into that state. Much like New Jersey during when the drinking age was 18 there, or 19, I'm trying to remember right. And, young people from Pennsylvania would go there and drink, or New York City. You could drink beer and wine. I remember when I was in high school, you go up to New York City, you drink beer, wine. If drinking age was 18. When we went on a trip to New York, that's what we did. We went up, we ditched our a senior in high school, we ditched our class and we go out and get some beer. You know, it was great. You know, we looked like those guys that worked out. The guys that ran the stock notes on Wall Street. Are you there, Joe? Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man! It sounds like I keep on thinking I lost you. So I mentioned Mexico, and if we do get a little feedback, there's a lot of potential sponsors there. There's the Hong Kong Gentlemen's Club in Tijuana. It's a strip club.
Well, I'm sure there's more than one strip club there.
But this seems to be one of the nicer ones and stuff like that. I'm going to put it in the byline. Maybe we can get a big thing from them. I don't know what they could send us. There's nothing you know what I mean? You can't really send a couch dance or champagne room visit, but maybe we can get some gear. Maybe they have some T-shirts or something like that they can send us. Okay, then. I'm going to go. These are also rans, and we also would take a small town in the United States because we have Iowa, Colorado, North Carolina, Georgia, New Jersey, and what else? Michigan, Iowa. I said Iowa twice, and the other countries.
You said Iowa.
Yeah, Romania, Ukraine, Lithuania. Russian Federation, which is huge, meaning there's so many places. I don't know. There's some people in Russian Federation. Israel, and Denmark. So Denmark, yeah, when Denmark started coming in, but right now it seems to be our front runner is definitely Poland. Poland is the one there, and I do go there. And I'm also looking to sell out to the cruise ships. And there are listeners who be pissed off about that, I guess, because of their um, ecological thing. But cruise ships are supposedly. I don't want to say anything about that until I hear from them and stuff like that. But my wife and daughter, I can't convince them that uh, they're bad necessarily at this time, even though they had a Bill Maher, stuff like that. But there are cruise lines like Virgin Cruise Lines and things like that. They're talking about being more, uh, what do we say, compliant with the environment.
Yeah, a little more environmentally friendly.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm looking to do is I don't know if you realize this, about was it 3 years ago? It was 3 years ago this summer. Okay. Was it 3 years ago this summer? I went on a cruise, and they gave us free Wi-Fi, a nice basket, some maybe a drink special, and stuff like that. So this time, since the show is a lot has grown, I'm thinking I'm be able to parlay. I'm going to parlay it in one of the cruise ships before I go on there and try to get a free. And if they're listening, if anybody works for a cruise company, I certainly, a nice suite. And I don't drink, but you can get me the liquor package for Abby. We'll take the beverage package, a soda or whatever,
so
bottled water.
Would you do the show while you were cruising?
Oh, yes, of course I would. I would do the show while I was cruising. I'll do a show every day. Have different people from their cruise ship and stuff like that. Have the cruise, the cruise director. What was that on the Love Boat? Who was the woman in charge of the Love Boat? Remember?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember the name, but I can see her face.
What's she called? The cruise director.
The cruise director, yes.
Yeah, and then we have the captain. We can have the captain on board if they want to talk. We have the captain, the activities, the entertainment director. Is the cruise director the cruise director is the entertainment director? Or no, there's like the cruise director and then there's the entertainment thing. Usually but they're pretty interesting. And then you can get the services director, the head bursar, right? And then we can interview some of your acts on this show. I can do all that stuff.
Oh,
I'm really great.
Fun.
I really get in, and maybe we work it out, Joe. We get you and Damon on there and stuff like that, and maybe if Jenna's still talking to me, we get her stuff like that. Get a whole block of them. Do the whole show. I'd purchase new equipment for that one.
Yeah.
The soundboard.
Well,
I'd have all the soundboard and stuff like that. I'm sure they may have recording equipment on there. I could probably do it and just ship it off. So, Lee Sharp's calling me back. So, yeah. See, that's how I like selling out. Like that. And there's, the next week when we were talking to Mayor Johnston, we had, the checkpoint's going to be up till the end of May. So
that's correct. Yes.
We could possibly be at phase 3 at the end of May. Where they could just open up. I don't think it would be a pouring in of people.
Oh, you don't? I certainly do.
No. In the Upper Keys, maybe there's people that live here. They're poor, but well, think about it. Right? Think of the conduits for filling the Keys. Right? How they come in? They come in over Overseas Highway. Right? They come in through Miami International, Fort Lauderdale, Miami International, Key West Airport, and cruise ships and Key West. Now
and Marathon. Don't forget Marathon.
There's no ships that come in Marathon.
No, but there's an airlines land there. Delta has a flight.
Airlines land there?
Yeah, Delta lands there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, A million people,
Yep.
over a million people land in what was it in at Key West International Airport, right? We know that.
Yeah, about. I think
Okay,
what did she
now
say?
we
900 and
know
something
that
thousand.
for the time being, there's people that like the Keys, and we may get those people may still travel, but they're going to have to contend with reduced capacity and reduced and increased airfare. Maybe if I don't know how the airlines are going to eat the cost, right?
Well,
Now,
they're doing it right now, Jim. I mean, the airlines, they're flying their routes with 10 or 12 people on a plane.
mhm. Well, we heard the mayor say that there's these planes are late. Instead of 37 commercial flights a day coming in, there was 17, and there were like 2 and 3 people on each plane. That's incredible. I have friends that post pictures and all that stuff like that. That they're the only person on the plane. But that's happening all across the United States. So when they open up here, right? Yeah, we'll get people from Miami coming down and stuff like that, right? But we'll get
Yeah,
Miami and stuff like that.
Jim,
We're not going to get a lot of the out of town people.
you know what? I disagree. I think I just have this vision of like the floodgates opening up. I think people will want to come down here just to drive down here. Based on some of the people at the checkpoint that have been turned around, they just wanted to come to the Keys, knowing full well they couldn't. They tried to get in. They weren't going to do anything here except drive.
Wow.
So I don't know. I just think once those checkpoints go away, I think it's going to open up pretty good.
Okay, well that'd be good, but we look. My dog's getting all antsy right now. But like I said,
Your
the message
dog,
right
your
now.
dog doesn't want the visitors.
Yeah, we are looking for visitors here, and we're happy to sell out for TDC money. That's the Tourism Development Council here in the Keys. We got. I declared myself the mayor of Key Largo, so there's no one else making the claim. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to mayor Key Largo, since we're unincorporated. So just like the kings in medieval times, if you just get some religious guy to throw a crown on your head and say, "Well, God picked me. I'm the mayor of Key Largo."
We'll have to have a coronation with an ordination, and make you an official.
Well, I am a minister in the Universal Life Church. So Charlemagne crowned himself. I think the Pope was going to give Charlemagne took the crown from the Pope and says, "Well, since I'm head of the Church, the Holy Roman Empire, and the Empire is an extension of the Church, then I'm the head of the Church." And he tried saying that, so he took it out. I think he took the crown out of his hands to do it. But hey, there's your history lessons for today. But then again, I will sell out the cruise ships, liquor companies. We need some liquor companies. Okay, a local one perhaps, maybe one outside. So I'm gonna talk to some of those. We do have, we have the CBG company right now, but with our listeners at what do we got, 4,000 a month, and a lot of them, we're getting a huge explosion of people outside the United States. I got to get something that actually reaches, maybe someone that's an international corporation like Virgin Airlines or cruise ships, something like that. They want to raise their reputation. They can, before they say cruise ships will come out August 1st, maybe they could do it here on the. We could talk about the things what we're going to do on the cruise ship. So
yeah, lead them in.
Yep.
The Keys bartender could be the lead-in for the cruise industry.
Yep. And let's say if we did, if it was an alcohol company, I would not I'll tell you, I can't drink it, but treat me like I'm someone that's allergic. I can't drink your product, but that doesn't mean I can't serve it. And I'm happy to do that. And there's also the cities, any of the cities. I'm going to sell out my loyalty to your cities. And, Tijuana, you got the, what was it? What do we call it? The Hong Kong Gentlemen's Club?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I wonder if they tip them in pesos or American dollars.
No, I think they tip cows. If they do donkey shows, there's probably some cow tipping.
No, I meant money. That's you can't. You got to be serious with your stripper money, Joe. You can't joke about that.
Right. Yeah. You can't lose the stripper money. You got to hold on to that. It's got to be.
Yeah. They got to have that little elastic band.
Strategic. It's got to be strategic.
I know exactly how they do it. They got the garter. That's why they have the garters. The garters is to hold the cash. You always have to have a good garter, and if you're really popular, you need to have two garters, one on each side to collect your money. So I think that's.
You ever seen the girls with the
what?
You ever seen the girls with the two garters and the waistband?
Wow, that's a lot. That's greedy.
That is a lot. They work very well. If they have a waistband, you're going to see something unusual.
Okay. Yeah, I got kicked out for suggesting some. Well, but I'm not going to go there. Not that we're a family audience, but it'll ruin my. But I've always been a gentleman. I have to say, in the gentleman's club. So let's end at that. We're almost at 47 minutes, and I want to thank you, Papa Joe, and I want to thank our sponsors right now, Dakind, DAKIND, and that's the providers of CBD and CBG products, and they can find them on. I'll post it in the notes. www.dakind.com. Also, we have Bellissima Wines. You can go to www.keysbartender.com to our sponsors page, and you can check out the products they have. They got Prosecco, they have sparkling white wines, they have a low sugar alternative, and this is the company that Chrissy Brinkley has. So check it out. Papa Joe, you got anything you want to push?
If there's anyone listening from Garda, Italy, send us a picture.
Well, the host of the service we use, Spreaker, is from Italy.
Well,
the whole company's from Italy. Spreaker.
Go.
Yeah, that's I forget where it's from. And I used to, in the first year, they must hated my guts. Because they were pretty much a new company. I was busting their balls all the time with questions. I was losing podcasts and stuff like that. So, but wait, what did I say? I got to say that Abby taught me the name. Say it. I want to thank you for the listeners in Nienadowka, Poland, and Rzeszów, and. We're going, if anybody else in one of those countries like Tijuana, Tijuana's not a country, but Mexico, Romania, Ukraine, Lithuania, Israel, Denmark, Russian Federation, they want to make a play for our affections, we're willing to do that, and we will do a commensurate amount of attention on you. We'll lavish you with attention if you lavish us with attention. So
there will be much lavishness.
Yes. I will write a special play for your town. I will place it. I will write a radio play. I would have done that for the city, which we didn't say. I'm very proud of myself. in South Holland, they had their opportunity. Maybe they don't listen. It did seem kind of transparent. And once again, it seemed like, okay, yeah, I may have been pathetic and stuff like that. But, it's good. It's good podcasting. It'd be funny. It was actually funny. If you guys don't understand what humor is, that was funny that I was actually making a pathetic plea to a city, a small city. Now, Tijuana is not a small city, but we are, we're in the Florida Keys, so we do carry some weight. We're not some podunk town in, let me pick, Utah. In Utah. Let's say we're up in that panhandle of Utah. Is there a panhandle in Utah? I vision there's a panhandle in Utah.
Panhandle of Utah, or is it Idaho or Oklahoma?
One of those. But what happens is, if we were up there, yeah, of course, we've been saying, but we're in the Florida Keys. We carry some reputation here. We are a tourist destination. So I'm not making a play for a tourist destination. I'm not looking for, Rome or Antwerp or Gant, Belgium, or Paris, France, or, I'm not talking about Marseille or Nice or anything like that. We're talking about these small towns that don't get anybody. Like you said, Garda. Well, Garda's beautiful, man. I'm sure they don't need us, but we may be comparable, Garda. Maybe we can be your twin.
That's
or
right.
Someplace, and I'm sure there's someplace in the Russian Federation. God, maybe one of the places that are near Chernobyl, right?
Yeah.
Oh, in the fallout path
yeah.
of Chernobyl, you may need a little lift and stuff like that. Maybe you got tours or something like that. Hey, Russia's great, man. Every so often you got those videos on YouTube where someone gets drunk on vodka and they get into one of these, construction vehicles and start going crazy in town and start destroying vehicles. Hey, I realize we're in the United States. Our people don't go nuts and get in construction vehicles. Our people go nuts and they take an AK-47 or something like that and shoot everyone up. I realize that. So you can make fun of me. That's fine. But for now, that was the longest goodbye I ever did before, Joe. You think we'll get anybody?
Let's end it there.
Yeah, let's end it there. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Papa Joe.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay, and I want to play the music. We could talk over it if you want. I'll tell you when it's over, and then I'll bring it down. And then I'm gonna hang up. You hear me?
I hear you.
I didn't play anything yet. I'm playing it now.
Well, then play the damn music.
I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. Wait, hold on a moment. I'm still not. Hey, just so you know, I'm not drinking. This is me. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and then you got the drums, guitar, boom, bass drum, real cool, I gotta get some words in this, man. There's gotta be something, Joe. It's going on right now. I'm talking.
Are we still
hang up,
on?
Joe. I know. Yeah, I'm gonna hang up. Okay? Talk to you later.
Hang up, brother.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye. Whoa. That got real loud. Bye.